Starting. All right. Good morning. My name is Charity Yazzie, and today I speak to you guys about strengthening your marriage, specifically 3 different steps that I believe will help you to strengthen your marriage. As a marriage and family life student, I have had the privilege to learn some wonderful techniques to strengthening family life and specifically to strengthening your marriage. And tonight or this morning, I'm going to focus on 3 easy steps that you can do to help you in strengthening your marriage. The first thing I'd like to talk about is praying together, and maybe more in a broad sense, just strengthening your faith together. I heard the saying that the family that prays together stays together. And it's the same thing with a couple. The couple that prays together will strengthen their marriage. Marriages built on similar beliefs tend to be stronger, and couples that work towards the same goal are stronger. And they do have when they're working towards the same goal, then they are working together and they are continuing to build their marriage and their life together. One thing that I find important and beneficial to praying together is that when you hear your spouse pray for you and your specific needs, it strengthens the love between a couple. You are able to hear your spouse's true feelings and desires for you, and your spouse's worry about you and your needs. And praying for your spouse creates a gateway to putting your needs aside, your own needs, and putting the needs of your spouse ahead of your own. And one of the biggest causes of divorce is selfishness, affairs, money problems, addictions. Have to do with putting your wants above the wants of your spouse's and the needs of your spouse. And so one of the things that can really help strengthen your marriage is the marriage triangle that we've learned about. Elder Bednar talks about it in one of his talks. And he has the triangle, and it's set out where the Lord is on top, and then on each of the side, husband and spouse. And so the more that you work towards getting closer to your Heavenly Father and praying together and doing things that are in harmony with the Lord, the stronger that your marriage will be, the closer you'll become to each other and the closer you become to the Lord. You think of a triangle, and you start out with a big one where your husband and wife are here, and then the Lord is up here. But as you start praying, you start getting closer to Heavenly Father, and the triangle, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller until, husband and wife, they're closer together. And so that is one thing that I wanted to talk about. I believe something that is crucial to marriage is praying together and to working towards the beliefs in the marriage. Second thing I'd like to talk about is dating your spouse. You date your spouse to get to know them, and the same thing is necessary throughout the marriage. Proceed into marriage, and we progress through life. We change. We encounter different things that would enable us to change into a different person. We become more patient, or each that you have in our lives changes who we are. And that's the point of life, is to progress more to Heavenly Father and to change who we are so that we are more like Heavenly Father. But as we're changing, we're not the same person that we were when we first met our spouse. And so it becomes necessary to continue to learn more about your spouse and to learn more about them and to continue to get to know them. And we can do this through dating. The third thing that I'd like to speak about is couples councils. And Elder Ben spoke to us about this in the April General about having family council. And one of the things that he talked about in there is that we should have couples councils, and that's any time that you are alone with your spouse and you're communicating about the needs of the family. It's a wonderful way to overcome arguments and struggles within the marriage. It sets a precedent of being able to speak to each other in a non-judgmental way. And the most specific thing in couples councils is that we do seek what's best for the marriage instead of what's best for one spouse or the other. And I hope that these things, I do know that as you put these things into your life that and into your marriage, that those things will help to strengthen your marriage. And it's 3 very simple steps. And that is the end of my presentation.
Awesome.
Good job.
More content than 5 minutes.
And there's time. That's always the case. 5 minutes is just not quite enough.
No.
So let me ask you a question. Did you pause broadcast, like stop broadcast or something? Or
No,
are we still live?
I'm going to keep it going so I can have all of your comments in it so I can go back and look at them.
Just for future reference.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think you did a really great job. I really like that you're able to talk about things that are very important to you, like personally, for your career. Mm-hmm. It's really good. I think you did a good job with your eye contact to the camera. I think that makes a difference for people to feel that you care about them and you're talking to them and with them and not just reciting something or inside your own head. Mm-hmm. The only comment maybe it would be time. It was a little over 5 minutes, but that's why we gotta practice now. And like you said, it's hard to stay within that 5 minutes because it's hard to make any point across in 5 minutes. But it is important for the grading. And maybe for you to manage to do that, I would suggest to not feel worried about going straight into the topic more towards the beginning. I think it took you a minute to get warmed up to start talking about what was important. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you need to worry about it. You can just leave that beginning, some of it out, and just be able to get straight into the topic. So that's my...
Yeah, I got to the end of my first topic and I'm like, I have a minute and a half left. This is
yes. And then that pressure just doesn't feel good anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and the same thing is when you were talking, I could tell it's something that you care deeply about. It meant a lot to you, and that you can tell when people love what they're talking about. So it was fun to watch. It was actually really sweet because I could see the love you have for your husband as you talked. The only thing I would recommend is your 3 topics, try to divide them equally among the time. Mm-hmm. But with 5 minutes, and if you add in any kind of introduction and conclusion, that gives you like a minute per topic. So it's hard, but I think you did great. So.
Yep, excellent. You did really great. So are we going to your husband now?
Yeah, let's hear your comments there.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, you probably need to be centered in the camera. You need to stop moving around. You're moving around a little bit too much. Other than that, that's all.
Yeah, I had a visual aid behind me, and I didn't get to use it. And so that's one thing I need to work on is a visual aid. So I got to figure out how to set that up so I can. But all right.
It'll be fun to see the final draft. It always is.
Yeah. All right. So who wants to do theirs next? I will go ahead and stop my broadcast now.
Okay. Are you ready? How about I go? Because I'm ready. I don't know if your husband is ready. Is he ready to start his?
Do we want to stop and then have you start your broadcast? Or
Yes. But I was asking,
Okay.
is your husband ready to?
I think he is too. I don't know.
How about we do you guys both first and then we jump in?
Okay, all right.